And we welcome you into Signing Day 2018. Brian Staten joined by Pioneer coach Jerry Odom. And of course, you know, it's the middle of the basketball season. Yeah. It's the perfect swing. We're starting spring sports. Why not talk about football?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what we're going to do today.
That's what we need to be doing.
National Signing Day should be a national holiday for a lot of folks.
It should be. It is. It's not?
I think it is for you.
Oh,
there's no question, because your assistant coaches considered it a day of rest, where they have been burning the roads. You guys have been on it. And we're talking about football in every sport here at Tusculum College. We'll concentrate a little bit on this Pioneer football program, because for you, this is a signing draft for you. I think I consider it a draft in a way, where you get a little bit more selective. And I think we saw the biggest part of you getting some athletes when you first got here, and then our depth issues came a problem this particular year.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. As you're trying to build a program, you have to kind of look. You got to address things that you can address. And really, when you get in there, I think I got hired late December. You basically have 2 weeks or a month to try to throw something together. Then last year, you know, we lost some coaches. There's a little bit of coaching turnover. We were more selective. We kept working it. And what people need to know in a Division II, yes, it's signing day, but we're still recruiting. I mean, we'll go right down into right before the season to you know, finish some junior college guys and things of that nature. But we feel like this is by far, not even close, the best class top to bottom that we've had since we've been here.
Mid-season signing day as well. I don't think we get a chance to talk about that enough, because that was big for you as well.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I think getting 4 junior college guys in here who are already working have fit in very, very well with everybody else. Great guys. We're really happy with the type of people we brought in here, because that's big to me. You know, finding a junior college guy, make sure they're the right fit for your program, and getting them in the weight room, getting them, you know, kind of acclimatized to how we do things, and then go through a spring. I think that'll be huge for us.
All right, let's talk about some of the guys, because as mentioned, you can always follow online through TusculumPioneers.com and get the complete updated version of signing day. But some of the guys that have come in, we got to talk about some kickers, because you know, I mean, you always want to finish a drive, whether it's 1 point or it's 3 points. We didn't always get that done last year. We did toward the end of the season as well. And we're going to work on the names, and we're going to get them. This is the first time I get a chance to see them. Alan Andrzejewski, you know, here's a guy that's going to come in here and hopefully compete for a job right away.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Very accurate guy. Was one of the Coles top guys in those kicking. You know, his Coles were one of those groups, the kicking groups. He's very highly rated. Liked him. You know, he's a Mill Creek kid, which is a very, very good program in suburbia Atlanta area. Coaches had outstanding things to say about his work ethic, his want-to, and then he's kicked game winners. He's kicked several game winners, and is very, very accurate. And really, all I'm looking for is accuracy under 43, 44 yards. We can get that, then we win a couple more games, you know, even last year. But I think that's very, very important moving forward, is to be able to finish a drive, like you said, whether it's 1 point or 3 points. And then his kickoffs were very good too. He kicked almost 96% in the end zone, and so we feel like he will be at least one of the guys, because we're bringing multiple guys, but he'll be in the mix.
Another guy that can compete is a guy from right here in town in Greenville, and that's Eli Shepard. He had plenty of opportunities to kick off this year.
Absolutely, and probably one of the best kickoff guys in the state. Very impressed with Eli, bigger guy. He basically kicks out here all the time, because he lives right down the street. Yeah. But you know, Eli's a great guy. Know the family. I think that you know, he didn't kick the field goals probably quite as well as he did last year, but he had a new holder, new snapper. Sometimes that, you know, operation thing rears it ugly head sometimes, and sometimes he just missed, you know. But I think for sure, kickoff wise, he can come in, and he's got a really strong leg. I would say more than half his kickoffs were out of the back of the end zone. And, you know, you're backing everything up 5 yards in college, so that at least get them into the end zone, and that's what we're looking for.
All right, staying with the kicking theme on special teams, and it's another Cantrell. Andrew Cantrell coming out of the middle part of the state, out of Sparta.
Yeah, Andrew Cantrell, very athletic guy. Not quite as big as Hunter, but more athletic, I think. You know, played quarterback, played receiver. And I think at this point, just from what I've seen from huddle film all the way up, I think he's better than Hunter at the same point in Hunter's career. I think even Hunter's father and those guys would tell you that, and that's what we saw. Great leg extension, great height on his punt, averaged 42.8 yards a kick this past year, still down at least 10 inside the 20. He's it's almost like, you know, he's gotten all the things. We started working Hunter with a guy when we first got here on his kicking, and he'd never really had that. Well, you know, now the younger guy's getting all that, you know, that exposure that Hunter just has had for 2 years. So we're hoping for big things for him.
I think Hunter would disagree that his brother was.
I'm
better.
sure he would. I'm sure he would.
Athlete Malcolm Jackson ran for over 1,100 yards this year.
Yeah, out of Mockley, Florida. If you know Mockley,
yeah.
It's down there in the basically the swamp of the Everglades is what you're looking down there. Great team last year. I believe they ended up 13-1, got beat in the semifinals by the eventual state championship by a touchdown late in the game. He was like their go-to guy, very key guy. He was their best runner. He played defense. He played some safety. He played some corner. Did a little bit of everything. That's why we put him as, you know, an athlete, because he played running back, but he could play slot receiver. Very, very quick. Timed at Miami's camp at a 4.46 40. We really like him, and I like his makeup. He's got a really good makeup for the kind of guy I'm looking for.
You know, you need that kind of guy that's
can do a little bit of everything.
Just a little bit of everything. The name, Jabran.
Jabron.
All right, so Jabron Williams, another athlete, but another guy that you're very familiar with.
I am. Astronaut High School down there in Titusville, Florida, right down the street from where I'm from. Know the coaches very well. Jabron is a 10-7 100-meter guy. Will also run track here, you know, for the Pioneers, similar to Richard Gravel. But another guy that could play. He played a lot of corner and safety his junior year. Running back his senior year, over 1,400 yards rushing, over 7 yards a carry. Was really their guy this past year. Great kid, you know, love his makeup, and so I'm really excited to see him, get him up here and get him going in a Pioneer uniform.
Over 1,400 yards, pretty impressive down there in the state of Florida, all Space Coast. Is there? Space Coast.
Space Coast.
You got the Space Coast guys down there. A couple of quarterbacks in this class as well. Joaquin Collazo out of Melbourne, 3-year starter.
Yeah, Joaquin's thrown for about 4,000 yards in his time, 50 TDs and only 18 interceptions. He's a lefty. 6'2", 6'3" kid. Really, he's probably 6'2" when I started recruiting him. I think maybe 6'3" now. He's gotten a little taller. Got to fill out a little bit. Probably only 180 pounds or so. Very athletic. Can run the ball well, too, if he needs to be. Cagey. Was the Blue-Gray All-American MVP. Threw 3 touchdowns in that All-Star game. Played in the Central Florida All-Star game, too, I believe. But a guy that, you know, we feel that's got great things ahead. We feel like both these quarterbacks are outstanding. It's going to be a battle between those guys as they get older, you know, going down the way, because they're very similar in a lot of ways.
The other one, Bryce Moore, also another 3-year starter.
Yeah, 3-year starter. Jefferson High School in northwest Georgia. He is a really good player. Dad played at Georgia, I believe. I like him a lot. He's got that it factor a little bit to him. Another guy threw for 3,900 yards. You know, this year had a great season. I think they ended up 12-1. You know, made a really deep run in the playoffs, and he's another guy. Like I said, Joaquin and him, those guys are going to be great competitors, and we feel good about both those guys moving forward, because what we do, I think they're very good at what we do, pro style. X and out route, you know, different routes, understanding coverages. Ferg did a really good job vetting those guys as far as getting them on the board, talking a little ball, seeing what they can handle, and he was impressed with both of them.
And I like what Ferguson does too, even with Alex Ogle this year. You know, bringing him along, coming in, adapting and changing his style, and getting him to adapt to what we're doing. Right. I think you got a good coach in that position, obviously, for your quarterbacks. Running back, another guy over 140 yards a game. That's Thurlow Wilkins out of Avon Park.
Yeah, Thurlow Wilkins. The deal on him is he came from another school. So he came from Sebring High School, which is right down the road from Avon Park. But he's another track guy, 10.53 in the 100 last year. So I know the track coaches are real happy about that, because he's about as close to Witcher as you get. But he's 6'1", 191 pounds. He's a running back. He only rushed 108 times for those 1,400 yards. So you figure that out on the average. Pretty good. A lot of big runs. He gets in the secondary, he's going to the house. And that's what we're looking for, you know, because we feel like we got some bangers, some guys who can wear you down. But I think Thurlow's that guy that if he gets that little bit open, he can go to the house. You
know, and running back last year, I mean, we finished with you know, our 4th guy on the depth chart.
Yeah.
Did a pretty decent job in that last game with our 4th guy on the depth chart. But obviously that again, tried to build and create, a lot of competition, one, but also just to create the depth for this team. Amen. Another running back is Cody Willens. Some people in East Tennessee will remember the name out of Seymour First, finished his career at Kings Academy.
Yeah, he had a great year. I love this kid, man. He is a baller. Kings Academy kid, runs well, 200 pounds, really runs downhill. Very, very high. We're very high on him also. And he's a running back, and we're going to give him every shot to be a running back. But if he couldn't be a running back, I think he'd be a heck of a safety. Yeah. Obviously, being the defensive guy that I am, I think he could do that also. But we feel good about him just as a person, like his makeup, and I think he's a very, very good football player. All
right, some attention to the defense, the running backs, linebacker guy that you've got next, Luis Morris. Luis Morris. But a decathlete, once again, another track guy coming in.
Yeah, we're working with track a lot. Second in the state last year in the decathlon in the state of Florida. Luis is probably going to want to start running back because that's what he played at, about 1,500 all-purpose yards. But I see him as being could be a Will, could be a Sam linebacker. He's very athletic, tough kid, hard-nosed, will do the dirty work, and just a great person. Just a great person, great family. His coaches couldn't say enough good things about him. Character-wise, guy that's going to come in and grind every day to be the best he can be, and that's the kind of guys we're looking for.
All right, the hardest hit area in the team probably hit was the wide receiver position. I know we've got a lot of kids that were waiting to get their chance this year, so we've got those kids that'll compete, and now you're going to bring in a great class. Not only just, I think a great class, but also a class that's ready to compete, especially with their size. And we'll start with Aaron Fudge out of Jacksonville.
Yeah, Aaron's out of Bishop Kenny, Florida, which is in Jacksonville. He's a 10-900 meter guy. Could be a track guy too, because 10-9 as a junior, you could go 10-7, 10-8. This year, 6'3", 190 pounds, really good-looking kid. Can be a deep threat, can be a big guy deep threat. That run the post, run the deep out cuts, the bench routes, things like that. But great hands. I believe had over 30 catches this year. And I want to say 8 or 9 touchdowns, and really probably graduated. Last year may have been a better year for him. Graduated as a really good quarterback, and they didn't bring as much back. He was committed at one time to Central Michigan, and then they ended up, something happened there, and he actually got his commitment, went to Louisiana Lafayette. They got let go, and he kind of fell through the cracks. Thank goodness he fell to me. Yeah. So we think a lot of Aaron. We think he's going to be a good football player.
You got a nickname for this next guy. And again, the wide receiver core, when you think about the guys who we've lost, and Altizer and Gates, who was a converted wide receiver, and then Lynch, just big guys. You've got a lot of, shoes to fill, especially Altizer with the job that he did with his career and the smarts that he brings. I think this next guy will be kind of like that, will fit that mold in Jacob Moss.
Yeah, Jacob Moss. Jake's the he's the son of a coach. His dad was actually my arena football coach. He also was the head coach for Ferg when they won several championships with the Jacksonville Sharks in the Arena League, but his dad's coached in the XFL, the NFL, the Arena League. This kid's been around it. He reminds you of a Wes Welker type guy, a kid that understands routes, understands how to work. He's a grinder. He's going to be that kid that just wills himself open. He's going to try to outwork you, but he's really, really quick in space. So probably more of a possession guy, but a guy that it's got sneaky speed. All Volusia County down there played really well for University High, as they had one of their better seasons the last couple of years.
Dejon Steele?
Day.
Day Steele.
Let's just go Day. That's what he likes to call it. It's Dejon. You're right. That's how you say it. Dejon Steele is a freak of nature. He is. We were very lucky. He plays at a 1A school, ECI, which is Emmanuel County Institute in South Central Georgia, and it's very small. The town itself has about 2,000 people in it, maybe a blinking light. Yeah. And I think the kid got overlooked because last year they had a pretty good quarterback, and he had 50 catches for like 800-something yards, and people were saying this guy's going to be the guy. Well, then the quarterback graduates, so they go back to the wing T. So he ended up playing wing about half the time in a wing T this past year. Now, the part you like, very physical. We'll go in and block linebackers. We'll do all the dirty work that way. But he's also a guy that runs 4.5 in the 40 at 6'5", 215, and can go get a post. He may even grow into a freak show tight end H, at some point. But right now, we'll probably start him at X or Z. to get his feet wet. But he's a guy that we expect big things out of. I think all these receivers that we signed are going to come in here and compete.
Nearly 1,900 yards a game, 23-yard average per catch.
Yeah.
So pretty impressive. Defensively, now we're going to work on some of our defensive backs. When you talk about Martez Tompkins, you lose a lot of leadership, I think, part in that backfield. Some of these guys, Jaden Ramos, I think, is up out of Clarksville. With our next guy.
I think we forgot A.J. Bellinger, didn't we?
Oh, yes, we did. We forgot A.J. Bellinger. I'm messing everybody up, but
I just wanted to make sure I didn't want mom and dad at home.
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
on me.
That's my bad.
Nah,
Because I'm not the guy that's out recruiting him. I'm just the guy reading off a piece of paper.
It's
But
fine.
A.J. Bellinger is the guy that you talked about, how he can come in and be that guy to compete right away.
Right away, too, yeah. And he's a guy that had, over 40 catches, Green Coast Springs, Florida, heck of a player, big kid. We're very fortunate to get him. So we got 4 receivers that we're really, really happy with. Now we can do some defense.
816 yards just this season is pretty impressive. AJ, we look forward to seeing you, AJ.
Yeah,
all right.
good seeing you,
There's
AJ.
defensive guys that we talked about. Jaden Ramos. But we talked about Tompkins and just the leadership. Not many people threw against Tompkins this year, and that's going to be a big miss.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the reasons why we had to go out and get some defensive backs that we're, very excited about. We may still go get another 1 or 2 of those as we move forward. But we've got guys back now. I mean, we're 3 out of 4 back. He's really the only missing part.
Right.
But again, it's finding that right fit, whether it's the guys that are here and Gurgley or Johnson or somebody like that stepping up and playing better, or it's one of these new guys getting in the mix, and then building depth where you can play nickel and dime and all these other things that I like to play on 3rd downs and 2nd downs. So that's a big part of it also. But Ramos, tough dude, man, comes downhill, smack you in the mouth, physical. Probably will end up being a safety. I played some core, but I think he's going to be a rover for us. But I really like him. He's just got a tough, nasty attitude about him, but off the field, really good kid.
Jordan Gilliard, I think you like his size, too.
I do. 6'2", corner out of Fork Union Military Academy. Originally from Tampa Wharton. I knew a coach at Wharton. He told me, hey, you got to check this guy out up there at Fork Union. Watched his tape. I've been recruiting him for about 7 months, 8 months myself because, having a guy that's 6'2" that can play corner and move his feet as well, it helps you with those big receivers and stuff like that. And, people aren't going to just be able to throw fades up and hopefully, we're going to make them work into the boundary to throw fades, and it gives you a bigger body to play, being a good tackler if we're playing a cut concept or something where we're making the corner be the 8th guy in the box and things like that we like to mix in and change up. So I think he's a big get for us.
It's how do you rate this class in the secondary? Ramos, Gilliard, Yarlett, how do you rate some of these guys right now?
They're pretty good. Yeah. We felt like we got everybody. There was one guy that I felt like we could have gotten that we didn't end up getting, but the rest of them we got exactly who we wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited about that. And like I said, we're still not done.
Right. Cameron Yarlett, what does he bring to the table?
Cameron is a quick guy. He's your 5'9", 170 guy. Great feet, super fast. Plays great man-to-man, good change of direction, things like that. He's out of Franklin, which is the Nashville area. Played good ball there, and he's got some work to do in the weight room, probably a little bit, but I think he could be a very good player for us.
Cordell
Dazara.
Dazara. I like
Cordell
it. I like the name.
Dazara,
I like being challenged.
Cordell, you got challenged this year, didn't you? Cordell Dazara is a kid out of O'Galley, Florida. Again, very near me. I knew the head coach, very good guy. He's an unbelievable athlete. 40 catches this year. He had 14 picks in his career. He'll play rover for us. He's a bigger guy at 6 foot, probably 180 pounds. It's going to be a frame to be a 190-pound guy, but he's going to play that same position Jay Boyd plays for us. That needs to be able to cover. That guy's going to be the field a little bit more, needs to be able to cover a little bit better, but he still come downhill and hit you and do the things near the box too. So I'm excited about him. I think we got a steal in Dazar.
Easy. Nick Jackson. That's a pretty simple name for
Nick Jackson, Valdosta High School, legendary Valdosta High School, was a all-region player there this year. He's more of our free safety. He's a 6'2", 190-pound guy, big body. we'll lower the boom. That's the one thing I told our guys. I said, we got to get some thumpers back here. You know, we're getting 9 in the box and somebody breaks it out. It's not just we're going to cut him down. We need to bring the wood sometimes too, and have some fear back there a little bit. Hey, I don't want to run that slant. That big dude's sitting in there. So, but Nick brings that to the table, that nastiness, that toughness, and they play quite a bit of quarters and quarter, half, and they've been coached very well. Valdosta said he should get in the mix relatively quickly.
All right, so we've rotated through the secondary, and some of these guys up front last year, we saw a lot of guys on the defensive line play a lot. I think we even went to almost 4 deep. A lot. You like doing that? You like keeping those big guys fresh? A couple of big guys, too, 6'4", 6'3", and we'll start with Logan Cowart out of Hiwassee.
Man, I like Logan Cowart, Towns County kid, North Georgia, just country as he can be, tough. Tougher than a $3 steak, you know what I mean? He's a tough joker, and he's 6'4", 260, runs in the 4'7", 4'8" range, and he's only 17 years old. Won't even turn 18 until about the week we report for camp. So he's a big, strong. He shakes your hand, he about breaks it. It's one of those guys. Good student, 3'8", 25 ACT. But very, very excited about his upside. I think he's got some work to do just because he played at a small school. So we got to see how he handles the bigger, a lot of, maybe more speed of the game. But I really like his upside a lot.
All right, a guy also an all-region type guy, defensive end, Gonzalez Flario.
Flariot. Yeah. Okay. It could be Flario because he is another Haitian. We're gonna have the Haitian army in here. Yeah. That's what the kids keep telling me. But Gonzo, we got fortunate on Gonzo. He was committed for about 6 months to, I believe it was Toledo, and something happened. They ended up not going on him. Fell through the cracks. I know a coach down there helped me out, and he's 6'3", 240, very athletic. Great kid. He was a 3.4, 3.38 GPA with a 10.20 ACT or SAT. So I was really excited about him. And he just brings in more athleticism, big body kid. They're gonna run.
Yeah, I like a guy that you can go get out of a prominent high school program like Coco, and you bring him in to probably be a guy that's going to compete not only in a couple of years, but also right away. And Howard Stewart, I think, fits that mold for you.
Howard Stewart, what a lot of people don't know is we redshirted or had transfers, maybe our best D line last year. We had 4 guys last year on our defensive line: C.J. Bartley and Nelson Luis and Xavier Clemens, and then our transfer from the Citadel. They would wreck practice for the offense whenever they got good and ready. So they're really, really good. Well, we feel like Howard and Gonzo and those guys, they can come right in and compete with those guys. So we feel like the good thing for us is we don't have it. We graduated one guy. Good old Kesterson is the only guy who graduated. So we got a lot of depth come back, and we're going to roll those guys in and keep them fresh. But getting back to Howard Stewart, Howard is a machine. He had 15, 16 sacks this year, a bunch of tackles for loss, and their schedule that they played was a who's who of national teams. And he's not super big. He's 6'1", probably 225. But he can run, he's yoked up, and he is an angry cuss, out on the football field. Good kid. Now, he does have some work I want him to do to get his academics, obviously, a little bit higher. But we got a plan to get that accomplished. I'm very excited about Howard.
Our linebacking core, some of the guys, again, we're going to go over some of the other players as you filled in your signing day today and these other positions. We're just going straight down the list of what we have. Jihad Russ.
Yes.
Another linebacker, and again, a guy that comes in out of that Tampa area, going to be able to compete right away.
Miss Donna Odom's alma mater, the Tampa Jefferson Dragons. Shout out. He played for Tampa Jefferson. It's a really good program down there. He's not super tall. He's 5'10", but he's like 210, 212. But he runs probably sub 4.6. He can really run. When you watch his tape, you're like, man, this guy can go. Yeah. He's physical. He's fast. He plays downhill. He'll play will linebacker for us and fit right into that same mold, of the guys that we have right now. And I'm excited about him. We found him kind of just Mike and I going through some tape. Some guy he talked to at the convention said something about him. We started going through some tape one day. He's sitting up here on a Friday afternoon and just like, man, who's this guy? And we ended up going on him. Real good student. Again, another good student, 22 ACT. 3.4 GPA. So, you know, kid that we're bringing in here has got good academics as well as being a good football player.
I think there's something like 37 million John Smiths in the world, but we're going to concentrate on the
You
one
got the best
that'll
one.
be coming, and we're going to get a good one. John Smith also out of this program that runs your defense, so very familiar in Cocoa High School.
Yeah, Cocoa High School runs my defense. Their DC and head coach are two of my best friends in the world. So, you know, if they've got a guy that's probably a little undersized. John, I was worried about John. North Dakota State came in on him late. And I think that they, you know, I know the OC there is a friend, and he's like, hey, if we didn't have a safety committed and a linebacker committed, we'd have taken him. I'm like, oh, God, I've been recruiting this guy for a year, you know. But he plays Sam position in our defense, and he will know all our calls. He is cagey. You can put him on the board. He can literally tell you everything that's going on, which is very impressive for high school kids. You don't get that often. He's tough. He needs to get in the weight room a little bit more. He's probably only about 185 pounds right now. He's 6'1", 6.5", 185. But, you know, if he plays that Sam position, 190, 195, that's plenty big. Told him don't try to get too big, just be who you are. But he's first team All-State. Yeah. He's one of the players of the year down there on defense. And he's a baller. Yeah. I'm super thrilled we got him.
Decimated by injury last year on the offensive line, did the best we possibly could, creating some of this depth this year. You were really conscious of that for your midseason signing class as well. And then you bring in a kid, 300 pounds, 6'2", and that's Jeremiah James.
Yeah, Jeremiah's, you know, Treasure Coast, a kid out of Florida, just very athletic, big athletic kid, could play guard, probably left guard for us. Right off the bat, he'll get in the, you know, he'll go in there and mix it up. He's super athletic. He was really in the offense. They pulled him almost every play, so he can pull and really run for a big guy. Again, another very good student, 3.5 GPA, 22 ACT. That makes it easier on us, obviously, to put packages together and stuff. But I'm very, very happy that we got that kid. The way he handles himself, I think he's going to be a good addition to our offensive line.
And in your offensive schemes, your tight end, I think, is important, not just necessarily to catch it, even though there's a lot in there for that, but a guy that's 6'4", Carter Mangle comes in from Georgia.
Well, he was at Hawking, Ohio, but he is from North Oconee, Georgia. You know, another one where late night I'm watching tape, say, man, who's this big joker? And then I looked him up on the roster and see he's from Georgia. I'm like, okay, maybe we can get him closer to home. Yeah. And so I started recruiting him, and he's your true inline, big, nasty tight end. You know, he's 6'4", 255, runs good, you know, but he's a masher when he blocks you, you know. So what it does is it gives us some more options at tight end. Obviously, we've got, you know, 2 or 3 good ones when we think back, but we like to use 12 and 13 personnel. And especially if you can get guys who run good and are big, because now you can be an empty, you could be in, you know, a tight formation. That really dictates to a defense what they can do. I've got to be in base because you could be in a big set and all of a sudden you're an empty. Well, now I got to match up on Connor Johnson on my Mike linebacker, which is a bad matchup, you know, or you know, any of those guys. So we will continue, to look for tight ends. We're looking for one more. I'd like to get another tackle, another tight end in this class also.
You know, just go back to last year when you think about Brooklander and Johnston. Right. The catches they had that were important in the game, Pembroke, Newberry, pretty impressive utilizing that position.
Wingate.
Yeah, for Wingate, huge.
All three.
Secondary, let's go back there real quick before we finish out the offensive line. That's Juan Davis out of Knoxville from West High School.
Yeah, good player, man. Tough, plays corner, tough physical kid out of Knox West. Really liked this tape. Jameer was recruiting him, and he and I watched his tape, and I think a lot of that kid. I think he's going to be a good player here.
All right, offensive line, these are some of the guys you brought in this midseason. Tremaine Chapman, 6'3", 305.
Yeah, Chat can probably play anything from center to tackle, hopefully. We know he can play center and guard. He's played a little bit of tackle. We'll probably start him at left guard is kind of what we're talking about doing. But he's already here. He's a guy that works out every day, grinds at it. I think he'll have a chance to get in the mix. And I think we're going to have a lot of competition in the offensive line this spring, so I think it's going to make everybody better.
Which was the point, bringing in some of these JUCO guys. He's Central Mississippi, brings us Brandon Harrison.
Yeah, Brandon Harrison, big country. Yeah. Big country. You get big country, some Skull or you know, I guess we can't say that. I'm sorry.
Probably not legal.
Yeah, probably isn't. Shouldn't do that. But maybe a mint, you know, or something between his cheek and gums, and just let him go to work. He's that kind of guy. Yeah. He's country as he can get out to be. He's my new Kesterson. I kind of love him.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm trying to hook those two up to go hunting or something. But you know, he's tough. He's a good kid. We're going to try him at probably a right tackle or a right tackle, and that way we got kind of a junior college right tackle, right guard type situation coming in and give those guys every opportunity to win the job, and then we'll go from there.
Pearl River Junior College out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Jamarcus Holmes.
Yeah, Jamarcus is probably only 6 foot 6.5 tall, but he may be the most athletic out of any of the guys we have. Just watching him in the weight room doing drills and things like that. Super athletic, was a 2-year starter on and off. Between him and both him and Tremaine kind of switched on and off. Both started, but they were just starting in different places. They were kind of, Swiss Army knives type deal for Pearl River. And Jamarcus will, play center or guard also somewhere.
Yeah. Another guy, rounding out this class for the first day, Devin Morton, another midseason guy.
Yeah, I like Devin a lot out of Hines Community College. Now I think he's gonna come in and push our starter at center. And I think there'll be a great competition between him and Big Schmo for who's going to win that job out. And I think Schmo would be fine with it. He's just, he's looking to just be as good as he can be. And I think we're just trying to make everybody be that much better. And I think Devin's got a chance to be in the mix also. So, again, all 4 of those guys have been great so far. They've been working hard in the weight room. They're going, don't have any problems with going to class and doing what they're supposed to do. So we just got to keep that up.
All right, listen, this is our signing class for at the time we recorded this that have come in. You can always check out the latest and updates. They'll be recruiting all the way up to the summer, to the start of camp. Visit TusculumPioneers.com for more. And I think the challenge for the coaching staff and for you guys is everybody's got accolades. Everybody has something that they have done in high school, that they have done somewhere, that they have been impressed. Everybody, they've been recruited by other schools. I think the biggest thing is, how do they handle the big scene? How do they handle more discipline? How do they handle being away from home? And that's the biggest unknown when they come into the summer.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, all freshmen are getting homesick. I don't care if they live 15 minutes away, 20 minutes away. You're going to get homesick. How are you going to handle it? The biggest part, too, is us keeping them busy, trying to coach them as well as we can, keeping our doors open so that they can come talk to us if they do get homesick, things of that nature, and then staying on top of them academically also, because that's usually the toughest part, I think, for some of these young kids, and just the change in how to go to class, or if they have an online class, or one of these things. And we try to stay on them about that stuff. But we feel like this is, like I said, top to bottom, probably the best one we've had. But obviously, we're still working. We're still looking. This is just the first day of signing day, folks. It's not the last.
Yeah. So congratulations to you and the staff.
Appreciate
He's Coach Jerry Odom. Thanks to Nick Forsberg, Alex Ogle, and the staff. We're the Tusculum Pioneer football team. We still have a few weeks left before football starts. But while we're into basketball season and the start of spring season, might as well talk about football. It's National Signing Day 2018. For Jerry Odom, I'm Brian Staten.